this gentleman right here has a story to tell. And I didn't even know who you were, Carson. There's a lot of people in the organization. I don't know everybody who's in my organization. You reached out to me and said you're going to be coming to Bozeman. You said you were in my organization. I quite frankly had to go check my RevShare dashboard to see if you were in mine or just in Game Changers. I was like, oh, cool, he is in my organization. And I got to know you just a month or so ago. And dude, I love your story. And I hope that you'll share it just openly and authentically and don't hold back, because I think it's a story that's going to bless many, many people. And it really, quite frankly, took me aback, man. Like when you shared some things with me and what you've been through, and I look at you today as the man you are, and I'm like, how does somebody do that? Like, I think it's amazing. And I'm grateful to be in business with you and excited for what you're going to do down there in Texas. So to kick it off, why don't you tell us kind of like your real estate story, just your, like where are you at right now? How long you been in EXP? Where do you live? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I live in Austin, Texas. I've been a licensed agent for the last 2 years, and initially joined a small boutique brokerage in Round Rock, Texas. And I'm still close with the owners of that brokerage. It just wasn't a good fit for me and what I wanted out of my business and how I could have the greatest impact on those that I choose to partner with and grow alongside. And so I joined EXP August 1st, just marked my 1 year with EXP. And I work on a team right now. It's called Haney Premier Properties Group, based out of Austin. And was just transparent with them from day one that, I want to work on a team for a little while, but my goal is to build my own team and then continue to just pour into people that, take that leap of faith and partner with me. That way we can all grow alongside of each other. And I plan on doing this for the next, at least 20 or 30 years. So just try to take a long-term approach in everything that I do in the business. And RevShare is a long-term approach. There's no instant gratification there. So
yours is interesting though, because, you were part of a team. That team decided to move to EXP. What was that like for you? Like, were you blindsided by it? Did they make the decision for you? Like, what were your feelings initially?
Yeah, so actually my wife, she's the marketing director for Haney Premier Properties. So she had worked with that team, and I'd become friends with Scott, who's one of the co-founders. And I had no intention of ever joining their team because I just didn't see it being a good fit for me earlier on. And then in April of last year, I saw a podcast that Glenn Sanford did with Brad Lee. Dropping Bombs with Bradley's the name of the podcast. And so it was just that 1 hour long podcast of Glenn explaining his vision and how everything is vertically integrated within EXP and what the ownership and shares are actually part of and not just a real estate brokerage. And so that piqued my interest in EXP specifically. And then I got home that night, and a matter of fact, I went and bought EXP stock that day because I was so on fire for it.
That's
and then
crazy.
I get home that night and tell my wife, I'm like, babe, I think I found where I want to go. And it's called EXP. And she lit up because Haney had just moved to EXP a month prior. So
wow.
It was God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself there, and just providing a pathway for me to do what I felt was right, and then also be able to partner with a group of great guys that have been great mentors for me too.
And because of this model, now you're able to partner with them and join them, knowing that you're not going to be there forever. Whereas maybe in the past that wouldn't have been a good match for you, and you wouldn't have had that mentorship or that partnership.
Yeah, they would not have been willing to pour into me under a different model structure, I don't think. They're great guys, but at the end of the day, we're in business to generate revenue, and it wouldn't have made much sense. But with the power that EXP provides, it's a great opportunity with so many different directions that we could take it and still benefit each other and be able to serve clients alongside of each other, just in a different capacity.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I love that you and your wife are both kind of in different roles, but in this business together.
Yeah.
man, there's so many directions I could go with this right now that I know would benefit the audience. Well, what would you like to share with them?
Man, I'll share just kind of my story leading up to even getting into real estate, just because I feel like my story is one that if anyone's on the fence as to whether they can do rev share or be a successful agent if they're new agents, I think that my story proves that anyone can do this as long as they're willing to, yeah, take the next step and do the next right thing. That's been my focus for the last 7 years, and it served me well. So where do you want me to start, man? Just
Well,
start.
you seem like a pretty polished, well put together young man. Has that always been the case for you?
No, it hasn't. As a matter of fact, so whenever I was 15 years old, I had my wisdom teeth taken out and was prescribed pain pills for that, and had no idea what the next decade of my life would hold after that one decision to try to, take some prescribed medicine that ended up taking me on a ride that lasted over a decade. So that happened, and then I ended up getting addicted to the pain pills and ended up in a treatment center for the first time when I was 16 years old in Texarkana, Texas. It was a adolescent male treatment center, so it was me and about 20 other guys between the ages of 16 and 19, somewhere in that range. And went there, and that was my first introduction to treatment, but I had a lot more suffering to go. I come from a great family with a lot of support, and so they had sent me to treatment like the first time they found out that I had actually developed an addiction. And so man, from then it was just a wild ride of just the battles of addiction and all that comes with that. By the end of it, I didn't really have any family or friends left. I had burned pretty much every bridge, and the one person that I had in my life still was my girlfriend, who's now my wife. Her name's Ava, and she's, without a doubt, my better half. She's my rock and the person that has been there and that allowed me to be able to focus on me and get my life back together. And so the last time I went to treatment was in 2015. And at that time, I had actually developed or transferred addictions from the opiates to alcohol. And alcohol is so hard on your body, and especially in the amounts that I was consuming daily. It only took me about 6 months from having transferred that addiction before I found myself in ICU. And I was in ICU for over a week. And even like 4 days in, they were telling my family, like, hey, he's not out of the woods yet. We don't know if he's going to make it. And it was a terrible situation in the moment, especially for my friends and family, just because, I don't have much recollection of it. I was pretty much out most of the time. But it was a huge catalyst to change in my life, and something that was necessary because everything prior to that hadn't worked. And so yeah, I went straight from the hospital straight into treatment center in the Hill Country in Wimberley, Texas. And my mom and dad, they weren't the ones to come and visit me at treatment. They'd done that whole deal plenty of times previously. And so luckily Ava was very involved. She just wanted to learn more about what addiction was and how she could be helping and not enabling, and really try to create a structure for whenever I came home that we could thrive, and then that I could eventually just get completely sober and live the life that we both felt like we deserved. It was just,
you feel like in that moment when you were in the treatment there that time around, like your parents had just kind of lost hope and given up on you?
Yeah. Yeah, they lost hope. They'd seen me. It was more like they wanted me to invest in myself and prove that I was serious this time. I think is more so. They definitely had hope that I would be able to come around and get out of that and break those chains, but they weren't going to be driving out to Wimberley to come see me and listen to me. They they'd been involved for multiple times before that. And so they were just worn out, man. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all.
You knew Ava before you became addicted at 15?
No, I met Ava in 2014, and then the hospital and that treatment in Wimberley was in summer of 2015. So I met her, and I was very good at hiding my addiction to the outside. So she didn't realize until a few months in that, like, whenever I told her and just came clean to her and was like, look, I've got an addiction problem. I've got to figure out something. And man, she just handled it with so much grace, which hadn't been the case previously. Most of the time people are angry with me or, just so frustrated. And she just wanted to learn about it and learn what she could be doing. And you got to keep in mind, she was 20 years old girl, and I was 24 at the time. She had a whole life ahead of her. She was in college. Like, she had nothing keeping her there or keeping her other than the fact that we knew we loved each other, and that she saw something in me that I couldn't even see myself at that time. And so, which we need that whenever we're at our lowest points. We need to know that, somebody, so that we can start to see it in ourselves. And so that's what she provided for me.
Was there a particular like moment or turning point that you credit like coming out of that addiction with?
Yeah, just the pain and the shame and guilt and pain that I had dealt with for the previous 10 years. I wasn't taking pills to like feel high anymore. It was, the high had been ruined for me years previously. It was just to maintain some normalcy in my life and to help me get out of bed in the morning, basically. So, the biggest moment that now looking back on that I can think of is she came up to the treatment center on a Saturday and spent a few hours with me, and we basically just created a vision board and actually put on paper like what would our life look like 5 years from now if everything could go the way that we hoped that it would, and if I was able to maintain sobriety and be able to get back into a normal life. And then now that is probably the coolest moment to look back on, because our life today, she wasn't working in real estate or anything at that time either. And so we had put down that we wanted to be in real estate full time. I wanted to leave my family business that I've been working at for the previous 8 years. She wanted to do marketing, and we wanted to work on a team together in order to learn how to most efficiently run our business that we wanted to create. And so now it's really cool looking back on it, because we're like exactly how we envisioned it. That's what our life looks like today.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And it wasn't easy at all. I started going to networking events for real estate like 3 years before I got into real estate, just to learn about the systems and to make contacts, which have been very, very important since I started this career. But man, coming from someone that had used drugs and alcohol to feel normal for the previous 10 years, there were multiple times that I would like go to a real estate networking event and just sit in my car, and I couldn't even make myself go in because the social anxiety without substances was too much to handle. So at that time, instead of giving up and calling it quits, I started taking improv classes and forcing myself to get out of my comfort zone. And those were incredible for that. They really helped. 6 months of classes, and it didn't bother me to really walk into any room and start talking to anyone, because I was more confident in that. So
I just love how like whatever obstacles in your way, like you've always had this like heart and this mentality, and maybe it's just because you had great parents or something in your upbringing, but like, hey, there's an obstacle in front of me, but I'm gonna figure out what I got to do to get ahead of it or get over it.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's really going to serve you in your journey as a team leader in real estate and building RevShare. What do you want to do? Like, what are your goals over the next 5 years in real estate?
Yeah. So about, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, I really started focusing a considerable amount of my time on the RevShare program. And I did everything wrong for the first 6 months. Like, instead of leveraging the systems that y'all built, leveraging you guys, I felt like I ran into a lot of what Nathan was just talking about. A lot of people that wanted to be on a team or have a team structure. And so we would bring them on to EXP as an individual agent, but then I was spending hours every week, like walking them through contracts, or I'd host weekly in-person meetings to just check all those boxes and try to shape our business around what people were needing, instead of the other way around, which is what it should be, is figuring out what we wanted our business to look like and then finding people that fit well into that model. And so as far as the next 5 years, I'm going to be starting a team of my own. I'm actually in Oklahoma right now. That's why I'm sitting in my car for this. This is where I grew up, was in Oklahoma, even though I live in Austin now. So I've got, I had 2 agent interviews yesterday. I had one this morning. I'm sitting outside of a restaurant. I'm about to go in for another one now. And then I got 2 tomorrow. And so that's a big part of what I want my business to look like. Not only my organization, but I'm starting a team up here in Oklahoma City here in the next like 3 or 4 months. And then I'll have the team in Austin as well. And so really just pouring into that and doing everything that I do. It's not about the money that you can make in real estate. That's great. Man, I'm just driven by the impact that I can have on others, because I feel like I'm living on borrowed time now. And I've known dozens of people that have passed away by addiction, whether there's like overdosing or they took their life because of the shame and guilt that comes when they would start cleaning up. And so, man, I just feel an obligation to, since I am still here and able and willing to just pour into anyone and everyone that I can, especially if they're struggling with addiction, just because I can relate so deeply to that. And I know what it feels like. I know how hard it is. But I also know, and it's important for me to be able to share like what life can look like on the other side. And so my, over the next 5 years, I'd like to have teams in at least 2 markets. We're eyeing a couple of other ones as well. And that idea just started from once I got into real estate, having people constantly reaching out to me on social media about, hey, I thought about getting into real estate. Would you ever help me out if I wanted to get my license in Oklahoma? And so it kind of just organically led me in this direction.
Man, I just commend you, brother. Like the amount of opportunity you have ahead of yourself with the mindset and the attitude that you have of impact at this young age and this early juncture. A lot of us can get there sometimes, but we don't start out with it. We start out with, I want to make money. I want to achieve this. I want to do this for my family. But like, you have that from day one. And I just know God's going to bless you, and you're going to impact a lot of people, man. So I just love your story. And I think this story affects a lot of us, whether it's us personally. We all know somebody, the stats are clear. Like, we all know somebody battling with addiction right now. And, I've lost a lot of people that I went to high school with to opioid addiction, and they've died. They passed away, and it's a real thing. And it's something that we need to talk more about, because there shouldn't be the shame. That's the thing. Like, I haven't had that addiction, but there shouldn't be the shame associated with it, because, it'll take anybody down. Like, if you've done any kind of research or read anything on the opioid epidemic, like, it takes down blue collar, white collar, any collar. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. Like, it's a powerful, powerful substance. So I'm just so grateful to know you and that you came through the other side. Any last words you want to share with the group here?
Yeah, I would just like to say, thank you for having me too, just giving me a platform to kind of share my story and share what I'm about. I've got some exciting news. We just went under contract on our first sober living home, which will be down in San Antonio. And so if anyone on here has any interest in learning more about that, or opportunities to be able to assist us in that big vision, I'll leave my email address in the comments. And I don't care at all about making money on that. That is solely just to provide a safe for people to get their life back together. Um,
Amazing. I'll be down in Austin in the end of November, so I want to come check it out. I think he tried to put his email in there and we might have lost him. What a story. Yeah, I see the chat, man. It's just like, I know it made me cry too. I'm just like, I was playing golf with Carson and I found out all this. I don't know what happened to my golf game that day, but I definitely, it definitely went to crap. I was just like, dude, are you kidding me? Yeah, just amazing comments, man. I just love you, brother. And your story is awesome. All right. I think we lost Carson, which is okay. We got his story in today. And we'll definitely hear more of him. Anybody have any other questions before we end for the day? I know it's kind of hard to follow that, but so everybody's email address is easy at EXP. So I'm just going to put it in here for him. If you just email carson.haney@exprealty.com, that will get to him and whatever forwarding address he has set up. But yeah, if he touched you today or you want to support his sobriety house, definitely reach out to him. Just a good, solid dude. Like, you know, spending a few hours with him on the golf course, like I said in the beginning, just very well put together, just a huge heart, wanting to help people. And, you know, that's what I think this is all about. Like, we have this unique opportunity with EXP, and yeah, we can make a lot of money, and, you know, a lot of people are making a lot of money. But I think, you know, what Glenn Sanford shared with us at the Alpha Breakfast in Dallas was like, this is a company of impact. Like, this company is going to impact so many people. And that's what the vehicle is going to become, not a real estate company. Carson, I heard you pop back in. You got any last words for us, brother?
Oh, no, man, I'll put my email address down there. Sorry about that. It completely got disconnected for me there. So
no worries.
But no, man, I appreciate you having me on, and I really appreciate you as a mentor and someone that has been there to answer questions whenever I need them. And so just thank you for that too, John.
Yeah, make sure we connect. You might have popped off, but I'm going to be in Austin in end of November, and I definitely want to come by and check out your sobriety house.
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. No, I'm looking.
We'll connect on that for sure.
Cool. That sounds good, brother.
All right, guys. Well, great call. I got goosebumps. Thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.